Welcome back, my YouTube fam. For those of you new here, my name is Omar Pineda, your Austin realtor with eXp Realty, and we are back in the city of Leander, Texas, in a community called Bar W Ranch, and the building we're looking at is DR Horton. And we're going to be looking at this beautiful, beautiful one-story that's going to have 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. This floor plan is called the Irvine, and you'll see that red sign. That is DR Horton's red tag sales event. They are having a lot of price drops, very competitive pricing for a lot of their inventory that's been sitting for a little bit. So they really are making it that much more competitive for you, the buyer, to take full advantage of. Okay, so this home, the Irvine, starts at $398,990. And it's currently for sale. There's one currently for sale for $379,990. So that's already almost $20,000 price drop. Okay, so like I said, it was 4 beds, 2 baths, 1859 square footage. It has a 2-car garage, and it's a nice 1-story. Here's a nice, a very modest walk-in pantry. You notice that we do have some of the home appliances here. One thing that DR Horton is offering, as we are in a buyer's market, is a home appliance package. So if you're thinking about the refrigerator, the washer and dryer, we can ask for that. And if you already have one, then you can either keep the one and bring it and sell them, or just sell the ones so you don't have to move it with you. So you have options. That's nice to have options when you're a buyer looking to buy either your first home or your second home, because at the end of the day, I want you to buy a brand new home and be very, very happy at the end of the day. So you'll notice that the family room, which is the living room, and the breakfast area does have a little bit of a separation. So it's not just one big open concept space. I know a lot of buyers kind of like that kind of separation. Even though we all love the open concept, we still kind of want to see the living room, especially from the dining area, kind of a little bit separated. And you definitely get that here with this floor plan. Now we are in the primary bedroom, the master bedroom, here in the back end of the house, and you'll notice that the ceilings are a little bit vaulted, so it's a little bit higher than your 8-foot ceilings, which just makes the room feel a lot bigger, Now, as we enter the bathroom, we'll connect to the spacious walk-in closet. Now, for homes like this, typically you're not going to see a shower and a tub. You're probably going to see a walk-in shower at this price point, I should say. And that's for most builders that I've seen, not just DR Horton. Is it possible? Yes, but again, DR Horton builds just spec homes. So they build homes not to order, but they just build homes, spec homes, so that people can buy. So a lot of inventory homes, because DR Horton is the nation's #1 builder. They build and sell probably, I'm sure it's between them and Lennar, because they're both the same as far as they just build spec homes. So very little customizations, because they want to build affordable homes that have like the essentials that people really want. Like, I know DR Horton has a smart home technology. It has the floor plans people want, but you're not going to get all the fancy finishes or super colorful cabinetry in the kitchen. You're not going to get something like that. You're just going to get the gray beige color mostly for the kitchen cabinets, and just a very standard builder grade finishes when you see DR Horton home. So we are in the second bedroom. We're still on the side of the home that has the primary bedroom. So if you can kind of visualize with me here, it's a 4-bedroom house. So you have 2 bedrooms on one side, and then in the middle is the foyer, and then the other side are the other 2 bedrooms. And that's kind of how it's split, if you can think about that and visualize that in your head. Here we have a standard closet in bedroom number 4. And I'm looking at the floor plan from DR Horton. So this is bedroom number 4 according to their floor plan, and then towards the front end of the house is going to be bedroom number 2 and 3. Okay, here's the washer and dryer. Whirlpool is the brand for these appliances. Now, some quick facts about the community. We have a tax rate of 2.64%. That is a little bit high, but we can make up that with the pricing and the incentives that the builders are offering. That's how we can get you into a very comfortable mortgage payment that's within your like your ideal mortgage payment range. So notice that this is a finished garage, but was there a garage door opener? I wasn't sure. Let's go back. It went a little too fast for me. Okay, so there is a garage door opener, and there is a tankless water heater, and that device right there on that wall, that kind of square looking thing, is the control panel for the sprinklers. You will have full irrigation in the front and back, and it does have this cool little sensor that's on the side of the fencing that if it starts to rain, it tells the sprinklers that, hey, don't turn on, and it conserves some water. So that's pretty nice. So now we're at the front half of the home with the other two bedrooms. Now this front bedroom would either make a fantastic bedroom or a home office. I know a lot of my buyers like to use that front bedroom and convert it into a home office so they can look outside into the street and have a nice view. It could also serve as a nice little hobby room, especially if you don't have any kids. I've seen a huge trend of my folks that are married with no kids that buy a 4-bedroom house, and then each of them have their own hobby room. So you could definitely do that here. DR Horton is probably offering some of the best incentives because compared to most builders, because they sell a lot. I think they have some of the most competitive buy down interest rates. So that's something we could definitely talk about in more detail during our consultation, or if you call and text me, we could talk about that some more. This community does pertain to the Liberty Hill ISD. That's something to note because we are in Leander, so the next city over. So your kids would go to Liberty Hill ISD, which is a big plus. That's the big draw because Liberty Hill and Leander have the most top highly rated schools. So that's a huge draw to why Leander and Liberty Hill blew up to begin with, because the schools just were so good. A lot of parents wanted to move in here, and that's why all this new residential construction just blew up. So many brand new homes in these areas. And I would say this community, a big part of the draw is the amenities. Once you see the amenities, you're gonna be like, wow, that $50 is well spent. That's the price of the HOA, is $50 a month for these amenities, which when you see it with the drone here in a second, you're gonna be like, wow. I was blown away too, because there are other DR Horton communities neighboring not too far from here, but these have the best amenities. Here we have a nice standard size covered back patio, which is always nice. You need a covered back patio if you're going to be living in Texas, because it gets hot and you want to be in shade when it's summertime, especially if you're grilling back there. You want some shade. I have seen some homes that don't have a covered back patio because of some of the builders are trying to save a little bit of money. And hey, it's a hit or miss for people. So notice the backyard, that wall, that limestone wall is part of the HOA. So you will have a very nice sturdy back wall that belongs to HOA. And then this fencing right here, how you kind of see it kind of flip-flopped, that's called the good neighbor fence. So that portion of the fence that's facing your side, that's the fence you take care of. And then on the other side, that's where your neighbor takes care of. And you kind of see that a lot through a lot of different builders in different communities, that they have the good neighbor fencing. So check out these amenities. These amenities, especially it's surrounded by all these green belts of trees. So it's very, very beautiful. This really, I think, probably sells this community once people explore the amenities, because not only do you have a huge pool, you have a nice little shallow area that's for the kids, and you can see they even have this nice little canopy over it for shade. Right, you have the event center that you can rent out for parties and what have you. Back there, you'll see that there's a dog park, there's a full-on soccer field, there's a kids playground, there's fire pits, there's cornhole, there's beach volleyball. I mean, they have a little bit of everything, and look how spacious it is. It's really, really nice. I was impressed, and you can see all the walking trails. I think they have paved walking trails and maybe a little bit off-road walking trails. I'm not sure, but if I see those tree lines, I'm like, maybe people will go off-roading. I see that in lots of communities, and it's very beautiful. If you're looking for a very green, very lush, especially hill, and looking for a couple of hills, then you can definitely find it in this community. Now you'll notice here there's another phase underway. So if you're looking for a prime lot location, you could definitely still find that here. And those are for my folks that want to be at the end of a cul-de-sac. Maybe they want to be next to a green belt, so they don't have any neighbors in the back. So you can still find all that here and in Bar W Ranch in Leander, Texas. Now you see those bodies of water right there. Those are retention ponds. I know people sometimes see that as like, oh, can you go fishing there? Sometimes builders have a stocked fishing pond, but I believe those are retention ponds meant for all the rain that we get here. And so it's the runoff. But it does make for a nice water aesthetic, a nice water feature, I think, for the community, especially since it's surrounded by trees. I think it looks really nice. Now, check this out. This really caught my eye when I was flying my drone from this community. I was like, what is this? Because you can't really tell here, but there was like a cloud of not smoke, but just dirt being coming from this location. I was like, what is that? Let me go back there for a second. And I did get a chance to explore this community. It's called Palmera Ridge. And if you subscribe to the channel, I haven't done the videos for it yet, but it's coming very, very soon on a couple of the home tours that I did for this community. And you'll be able to see the incredible, incredible view. I mean, from the ground, looking at this community, looking at that community from this community, you're like, wow, who's up there? I want to go check that out. I might see, like, who lives up there? There's 3 builders, and these are very high-end builders. I would say to get into this community, you're going to be starting at $800,000 and north of that. So that's something to also stay tuned for. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen so you can see a little bit of what's happening around the area. So here's Bar W Ranch. Okay, it's right off of Ronald Reagan Boulevard, which runs north to south. So if you're going to work or you're not working from home, more than likely you might be working south from this neighborhood. So it's like 183. 183 is another major highway, and that runs north to south. So usually you usually pick one or the other, because you can go pretty fast on Ronald Reagan, especially if 183 has traffic. Right, so that's very nice to have that kind of access to Ronald Reagan, because Ronald Reagan does eventually turn into Palmer Lane, and Palmer Lane is where all the big tech companies are located, and that's where a lot of people work, which is kind of like in this kind of general area where off Palmer Lane. So that's something to keep note of. And then you have like just like 183, so you have options to go south if need be, which is always really nice, because again, we do get traffic here in Austin because there's a lot of people moving here. So very, very close to this community is a grocery store, H-E-B, the grocery store for Texas, and this is a brand new one. That's the cool thing about this area, is everything is brand new. There's so many brand new things happening, so everything looks super clean, brand new, and this one's huge. This H-E-B is humongous. So that's going to be within minutes of this community. I think that's the big draw here. The location here is amazing, because you're going to be 15 minutes away from everything. Grocery store, probably your children's schools, and check this out, Costco. This is a big deal. People have been talking about this. We need this in Liberty Hill, Leander area, because there's just so many residents, and we don't have a Costco yet. I think people would have to go all the way to Georgetown for Costco, or in Cedar Park off Whitestone. Which is not super convenient for people living up here in Leander and Liberty Hill. So it's nice that there's a Costco, and they're moving fast. Every time I drive past, I'm like, wow, it's crazy how quickly we build out here. I think that shows a lot of confidence for the state of Texas, because there's not a lot of red tape for people to build. That's why I think it's growing so rapidly. So you have Costco, Target, 7-Eleven coming up here very, very soon. And Leander Northline is another thing I like to mention to people, because that's a huge, that's going to be Leander's new downtown area. If you've ever been to the Domain, the developers who did all that are the same developers that are doing Leander Northline. Now, this is going to be like a 10-plus year project. It's going to have, let's see here, Leander's new downtown district. The mixed-use center will be a walkable hub with retail, office, healthcare, public space, and residential offerings. Multifamily and townhome developments are under construction. It's going to be 116 acres. Construction started in 2020, and it's still going. It's still going. So that's super exciting. And then you're going to have, if and when Leander Springs, it rubs not rubs people the wrong way, but it's kind of a sore spot, because it had potential. Boy, did it have potential. I mean, look at this rendering. Everybody was like, a lagoon style, or like this beach kind of style with this fine white sand in Leander, Texas. I mean, that's what I see a trend happening in Austin, is that they're trying to bring the waves to Texas. And I think what the big roadblock they ran into here was a water issue, because there's so many residential homes here, and that project looked like it would require a lot of water. And so it's like, how do you prioritize that? And that's my best guess there, because this project is still the developers still own the land, but there hasn't been much movement as far as development. So there's some major projects happening in the immediate area in Bar W Ranch. So hey, what should you do next? If you're, I know there's a lot of real estate agents out there, so why should you work with me? Just know that new construction is something I live and breathe. I specialize in new construction. I am touring these communities, touring these new builds on a weekly basis, so I keep a pulse on what's happening here in the Austin area. And not to mention that I build all these relationships with all the salespeople, so I stay up to date on all the financial incentives. I typically get word before anybody else because, again, it's quicker to send an email out than to change it online because they have to go through the whole process. So I get instant and immediate access when it comes to price drops, the latest and greatest incentives. So time is of the essence, especially if you're looking for a home that you want all the boxes to be checked, right? Prime location, prime lot location at a great price with all the best incentives, because that's the one thing about incentives is that you have to scoop them up when they're ready and handing them out, because sometimes when they're all gone, they may not come back, and if they do come back, they may not come back as plentiful as it was from before, especially with some of these low interest rates that I'm seeing that some of these builders are offering. It's going to be what builders are offering in the form of these incentives, especially for the interest rate buy down. Nobody else can really touch that, especially if you're looking at the resale market. So, okay, I'm going to leave things for this video. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching it this far. I really appreciate you. My name is Omar Pineda. I'm your Austin Realtor with eXp Realty. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.